Hey, what's up, y'all? And we're back with some more college football 2024 preview and prediction. And in this video, we got the UCF Knights, West Virginia Mountaineers, and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So we'll start out with UCF. University of Central Florida Knights, and last year this was your first year in the Big 12, and yeah, it went all right. Considering this was your first year being a Power 5 team, and you did manage to go 6-6 and make a bowl game. But I mean, you did have some good wins. I mean, you just absolutely obliterated Oklahoma State 45-3. But then you did lose your bowl game to Georgia Tech to finish at 6-7. So now for this year, yes, you do lose your quarterback, John Reese Plumlee. He had about 2,300 passing yards, completed like 63% of his passes, 9 yards per attempt. 15 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. And then he did also run for about 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then your backup quarterback, Timmy McClain, also transferred. I mean, you did start 4 games last year when JRP was hurt. So, and then you did have about 1,000 passing yards and like 10 yards per attempt, and like 9 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. But you do bring in KJ Jefferson from Arkansas. Now he's a big guy. Well, I mean, he's huge for a quarterback. I mean, he's built like Cam Newton, so obviously so very big and athletic. He can run you over. So anyway, and then yes, his I know that his numbers really fell off last year compared to 21 and 22. But yes, he did throw for about 2,100 yards and 19 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, like 7 yards per attempt, about 64% completion. So, but I mentioned his ability to run around. He did have about 500 rushing yards last year. And yeah, he's the kind of quarterback, dual threat quarterback. That is perfect for Gus Malzahn's offense. And then your running back room looks really good. And you do bring back R.J. Harvey, 1,400 yards and 6.3 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. And then from the transfer portal, you do bring in Penny Boone from Toledo. And then, yes, I know it's Toledo, but he had 1,400 yards last year, 7.2 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. I mean, yeah, so you still have a great, 1-2 combo at running back. I mean, you can just have, KJ Jefferson, put Penny Boone on one side of him, put R.J. Harvey on the other, and just run the option. Yeah, the read option, beep boop. So you should have a great running game. And then for your wide receivers, you did lose your top receiver, 1,000-yard receiver, Javon Baker, but you do bring back Kobe Hudson. You had 900 yards last year. You do bring back wide receiver Xavier Townsend. And then from the transfer portal, you did get Javarius Johnson from Auburn. You got Jacoby Jones from Ohio. So now taking a look at your defense. I mean your defense was really average last year. And then you do lose several starters. Use like 6 or 7 starters. I mean, you did lose like your linebacker, Jason Johnson. He had over 100 tackles last year. You do lose a defensive end, Trayvon Brash, Morris Brash. He had 8.5 sacks last year. They do lose a cornerback, Corey Thornton, to the transfer portal. But you do bring back a defensive end, Malachi Lawrence. He had 7.5 sacks last year, so he's back. You do bring back some defensive tackle, Lee Hunter and John Walker. You bring back a defensive back, Damari Henderson. He had 3 interceptions last year. Let's see, from the transfer portal. Yeah, so you mostly focused on linebackers and defensive backs, and since that's what you lost a lot of. Anyway, you do bring in some linebacker, Deshaun Pace from Cincinnati, and got Josiah Pierre from Texas Tech. You got a defensive end from Miami, Nigelic, Harry, and you do also bring back a safety. You got Ladarius Tennyson from Ole Miss. You got a cornerback, Traquan Fegan from Southern Cal. So anyway, but yes, how about we go ahead and get into your schedule. So you do bring back, you do start out with New Hampshire on Thursday in week 1, and yes, you should just absolutely obliterate them. Next, you get Sam Houston, and same thing, you should just completely demolish them. And then after those 2 warm-up games, you do start conference play. You do play at TCU. Yes, TCU was one of the most disappointing teams in college football last year after losing in the national championship. But yeah, so you do have to play them on the road, and I am thinking that I'm thinking that TCU is going to be at least a little bit better this year. I do still think that Sonny Dykes is a good coach. So yeah, I am going to have you losing this one. And then that takes you into your first bye week. You come out of that and you play at Florida. Now, I already did my Florida prediction, so you know that I do have you losing this one. But yeah, this will be in the early part of the schedule. I think that that Florida will do well. This is before they start getting into the hard part of their schedule. But I think that Florida's record will not guess that they'll be better than their record says. I mean, you drop Florida in the ACC or the Big 12, I think they win 8 or 9 games. Anyway, so you're losing to Florida. See, next you do play Cincinnati, and guess I do have this as a win. I think Cincinnati is still trying to adjust to being a Power 5 team, and it did not go well for them last year. And then next, you do play at Iowa State, and guess I do have you losing this one on the road at Iowa State. Let's see, next, you've got BYU, and guess I do have you beating BYU. I mean, I don't think they're going to be very good this year. Next, you play next. Next, you play Arizona, and yes, I already did my Arizona preview, so you know that I have you upsetting Arizona at home. And then at Arizona State, they're absolutely horrible, so that's a win. Next, you do get your second bye week. Then after that, you play at West Virginia, and yeah, I'm gonna have this one as a loss. And then you do play Utah at home, and I've already done Utah, so you know that I have you upsetting Utah. So anyway, that does put your record at 8-4, 6-3 in the Big 12. And now let's move on to the West Virginia Mountaineers. So Yes, last year, y'all went 8-4. Yes, a surprisingly good year for West Virginia. You know, when we were when everyone was, you know, really down on West Virginia. You know, thought Neil Brown was getting fired. Guess a lot of people were saying that he should have been fired after the 2022 season. But anyway, yes, 8-4 last year. So 9-4 after beating North Carolina in a bowl game. Anyway, so now this year you do return quarterback Garrett Green. He had 2,400 passing yards last year, 53% completions, about 9 yards per attempt, 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Obviously, he needs to get that completion percentage up, get way up. I mean, anyway, and then he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run around a lot too. He had like 700 and something yards and like 5 rushing touchdowns. He was the 3rd leading rusher on the team. And then at running back, I mean, yes, you had a really good run game last year, over 200 yards per game. So you do bring back running backs, Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson. And then looking at your receivers, you do lose your top receiver, Devin Carter, but you do bring back wide receiver Hudson Clement, tight end Cole Taylor, and wide receivers Preston Fox and Traylon Ray. And then from the transfer portal, you did also get wide receivers Jaden Bray from Oklahoma State and Justin Robinson from Mississippi State. And now let's go ahead and talk about your defense. So you do lose several starters at linebackers and defensive backs, mostly. Yes, so that the defensive line do bring back all 3 starters. You got Edward Verninen, Sean Martin, and Fatorma Moba. And then you do lose your linebackers. You get your top tackler, Lee Cahoba, and Jaden Bartlett. But you do bring back Ben Cutter. And then in the secondary, you bring back Anthony Wilson and Aubrey Burks, but you do lose 4 starters, including Beanie Bishop, Marcus Floyd, Hershey, McLaurin, and Malachi Ruffin. So yeah, so in the transfer portal, you did try to load up on LBs and DBs. Yeah, so you do get a Reed name Kariak or Carico from Ohio State. Guess now out of high school, he was a highly rated 4-star, but he couldn't cut it at Ohio State. I mean, that doesn't make him terrible. So I mean, he could be really good at West Virginia. So bring back got Ty French from Gardner Webb, and he had 6 sacks last year, 10.5 in 2022, and yes, and yes, sacking the quarterback was something that was sorely lacking from your defense last year. And then your secondary, of course, is the main concern. But yes, you did get Kikora Tardu from Jacksonville State. You got Garnet Hollis from Ohio State. You got Aiden Garnes from Duquesne. And again, that's not, all of them. I'm just wanting to just highlight a few. Anyway, yeah, so I do have a lot of concerns about your defense, which was already, pretty average last year. So but anyways, now let's just take a look at your schedule. So you start out week 1 against Penn State. I already did my Penn State preview. So yes, I do have Penn State beating you again. I don't even really think it's even gonna be close. And then next you do play Albany. Yeah, that should be an easy win. You should demolish them. And the next you play at Pitt at the backyard brawl. And yes, I think that you're beating Pitt. I mean, if you saw my Pitt preview prediction that I did with Talk is Pitt, then yes, I did pick you. Yeah, so I think that Pitt will be a much improved team, but I still think you're going to beat them. So, and then next you play Kansas. I already did Kansas. So yes, I have this one as a win. Then I think Kansas will be a pretty good team. Let's see, and then next you get your first bye week. You come out of that, and you're at Oklahoma State, and yeah, I already did Oklahoma State, but it's gonna be a giant L. Ollie Gordon is going to run all over you. So, and then next you do play Iowa State, and yes, I do have you getting upset by Iowa State at home. I just got a feeling. So, next, you do play Kansas State, and I do have this is a win. I do have you upsetting Kansas State at home. And then next, you do play, we play next. You play at Arizona, and yes, this is a loss. If you saw the prediction for Arizona, but yeah, they do. Even though they're bringing in a new coaching staff, they do have no Fifita returning at quarterback. So I think this is a loss. That takes you into your second bye week. You come out of that, and you've got at Cincinnati. Yes, now Cincinnati was terrible last year. They're still trying to adjust to being a Power 5 team. So I have this one as a win. Next, Baylor. I mean, yeah, Baylor is terrible. That's a win. Right, Dave Aranda is on his way out the door. Next, you do play UCF, and yes, we just did UCF, so that's a win. And then you do finish things up at Texas Tech, and yes, I do have this as a loss. So anyway, so I guess that does put your record at 7-5, 5-4 in the Big 12. And now let's move on to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And so, yes, last year, this was the first year under Brent Key as head coach. Of course, he was interim coach in 2022 after Jeff Collins was fired, and he immediately made Tech better from the moment he became the interim coach. And then last year, first year as official head coach, and yeah, I'd say it was a pretty successful season. I mean, you did make it to a bowl game for the first time since 2018. Right, so going 6-6, and then beating UCF in a bowl game to finish at 7-6. Of course, so last year really had its ups and downs. Like when you lost to Bowling Green, but beat but then turned around and beat Miami. So anyway, yeah, yeah, I do like what Brent Key is doing um uh with Georgia Tech. I think that they're definitely headed in the right direction. So anyway, so yeah, so you do bring back quarterback Haynes King. Um, Last year he threw about 62% of his passes. He had 2,800 yards, about 8 yards per attempt, 27 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. Yep, he really needs to get those interceptions cleaned up. But yes, he also had 700 rush yards and 10 touchdowns. That's 37 total touchdowns. And and about 3,500 yards. And then you do bring back your leading rusher, um, Jam- Jam- Jamal Haynes, or uh, and yeah, he was 1,000-yard rusher last year, almost 1,100 yards. He was getting 6 yards per carry. Though you do lose your backup running back. Guess Haynes King was second on the team in rushing. So then third on the team in rushing, Dante Smith, but he's gone. You do bring back Trey Cooley. And you've also got Evan Dickens. Oh, anyway, so then taking a look at your receivers, you bring back your top 2 receivers. Bring back Eric Singleton and Malik Rutherford. But you do lose your third best receiver, Dominic Blaylock. But then you also bring back Christian Leary. And then at tight end, yes, you do lose Dylan Leonard. But you do bring back Brett Seither, who transferred from Georgia last year, and and I think he's going to have a breakout year. I mean, he did have 4 touchdown catches last year, and then you also got another tight end from the transfer portal. You got Ryland Goody. He had transferred from Mississippi State, but he actually began his career as a Georgia Bulldog. So anyway, so now taking a look at your defense, and I mean, yes, your defense was bad last year. Get finished close to the bottom of the ACC. So anyway, yes, and you do lose several starters off of the defense last year. Let's see, you did uh anyway. So yes, you do lose a defensive tackle, Daquan Dowse. You lose two of your linebackers. Excuse me, one linebacker. Yes, you lose Paul Moola, and then in the secondary, you do lose a safety, Jalen King, who led the team in interceptions last year. He had 4. And then you lose your cornerbacks, KJ Wallace and Marcus Sims. Anyway, but now on the defensive line, you do bring back your big defensive tackle, Zeke Biggers, and and yes, he really lives up to his name at 6'4", 330 pounds. So and 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 then you do also bring back another huge guy. You got Horace Lockett, who's like 6'6", 340, and he was a freshman last year, so he didn't play much, but I think he's ready to step in. And then you've also got Jordan Vandenberg from Penn State. And now looking at your oh yes, you did lose both starting defensive ends. You lost Kyle Kennard, who had 6 sacks last year. Yeah, that's a big loss because you didn't have many sacks last year. So you do also lose Eddie Kelly on the other side. But you did bring in Romello Height from USC, and he had 4 sacks last year. So taking a look at your linebackers, yes, you do return Kyle Efford, your leading tackler. Also bring back Trinalis Tatum. And then from the transfer portal, you did get E.J. Lightsley from Georgia. And you get Jackson Hamilton from Louisville. And then at your defensive backs, yes, you do bring back Clayton Powell Lee, your safety, second leading tackler. You bring back safety LaMiles Brooks. And then from the transfer portal, you did get safety Zachary Tobe from Illinois. You got corner Warren Burrell from Tennessee, and corner Saeed Gibbs from Rhode Island. So anyways, now how about we take a look at your schedule? So you do start out week 1 against Florida State in Ireland. Yeah, Florida State is what, like a 13 point or like a 12 point favorite, or it might be down to 10 for Florida State. Some money has gone on Tech to cover. I mean, I think that that this will be a close game. I think you will cover the spread, but yes, and FSU does lose a ton off of last year's team, including Jordan Travis and Jared Verse and Keon Coleman. But on paper, they still have the more talented roster, that they're still the better team on paper. So yeah, I'm still gonna take you to lose this one. Okay, but then you come back home, and then you host Georgia State. Now, you need to avoid the Bowling Green debacle that you had last year, and I think you will. Right, so I'm giving you the win against Georgia State. And then next, you do play at Syracuse, and yes, Syracuse does have a new coaching staff. They did hire Fran Brown, who was the Georgia defensive backs coach. I mean, they do get a new quarterback. They do get Kyle McCord from Ohio State. But I'm still picking you to get the win. And then next, you do play VMI. You have Virginia Military Institute, and this should be an easy win, against an FCS school. And then in the next, you do play at Louisville. Now, I mean, you do have to. Louisville is going to be a good team. I mean, if you've seen my Louisville prediction already, and you do have to play them on the road. They beat you last year, so yeah, I've got Louisville in this one. And then that does take you into your first bye week. Come out of that, and you play Duke, and I guess Duke does have a new coaching staff under Manny Diaz. They do lose their quarterback, Riley Leonard. Of course, their head coach Mike Elko left to go to Texas A&M. So yes, I think this is a win. And the next, at North Carolina. Now, you have had North Carolina's number recently. You've beaten them 3 years in a row. And they don't have Drake May. Yes, and they also hired Jeff Collins as defensive coordinator. So, yeah, that should give you some extra motivation. And plus, North Carolina's defense is horrible anyway. So yeah, you're beating UNC again. And the next, you do play Notre Dame, and I mean, yes, you are going to lose to Notre Dame, because I mean, they're just way more talented than you. So Giant L. Next, you're at Virginia Tech, and if you already saw my Virginia Tech preview, yes, I do have you going on the road and upsetting Virginia Tech. Yeah, Virginia Tech is getting a lot of hype this year. I mean, I'm not really buying into it. Anyway, next, you do play. Well, you get your second bye week, and then after that, you host Miami. And now I know you beat Miami last year, so Miami does have this game circled, and yes, I think that Mario Cristobal takes a knee at the end of this one. And then after that, that does take you into your third bye week. You get 3 bye weeks, while everyone else gets 2 because you play in week 0. So then you finish things up with NC State at home on a Thursday night, and you know what the rule is for these ACC Thursday or Friday night games. You always pick the home team. So yes, I have you upsetting NC State at home, and then you finish things off at Georgia on Black Friday, and and I mean, yes, I know the game was close last year, but I mean, we're just way more talented. I mean, we're bigger than you, we're faster than you, we're stronger than you, and yeah, it's not gonna be close this year. So, anyways, that is going to put your record at 7-5 and 5-3 in the ACC. Anyways, that's gonna be it. So, yes, let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me your record prediction for these 3 teams, and thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all again next time.